and welcome to the Third Man Cricket Show. We stand at day 3. It's the start of day 3 today at 3:30 p.m. India are at 125 for 4 with KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant at the crease. Alongside me today, I have two of our experts from the Third Man Cricket Show. It's Kaustubh and Sachit. Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. How is the start of day 3 for both of you?
It seems to be evenly poised at the moment for me. As far as I'm concerned, I feel that India did struggle at the end of day one, but I don't feel that that's going to be a problem anymore. They did struggle at the beginning of day two, but I feel that the way that Rahul is playing at the moment, I feel that India are in a pretty good position, and I don't think there's anything to worry about for Indian fans right now.
Certainly, KL Rahul is a very important hope right now for the Indian team because Rishabh Pant and Jadeja and Shardul Thakur maybe are the only batters left, we can say, but KL Rahul is used to the
Aluma
conditions.
Viari.
Yes, yes, sure, sure. So, Kaustubh, coming to you, I mean, we were 97 for no loss yesterday, and just after 5 to 8 minutes, we were 104 for 3. So, I mean, can we say that you're never set on an England wicket? What are your views on the same?
The first wicket was definitely Rohit Sharma's mistake. There was no need to go after that ball. That ball was. What can we say? This is the pattern of Rohit Sharma in Test. He is a great player. To see up the new ball in England Test, where England team has struggled and just scored 188 runs, and then go on to throw his wicket like that way, it is just disastrable. How can he do that? He's such a great player. He's on such a great streak. He's seeing off the ball. He's leaving the ball very well, and then he does something like this, and it's what his Test career represents exactly. Because he eventually starts great, he shows the great potential, and then he eventually fails and throws away something that he has built for over almost 2.5 hours of that innings. And then second wicket of Pujara, I think Pujara has that tendency. And then what can we say about our golden boy?
Yes, Sachit, coming to you, actually, the delivery that Anderson bowled to Pujara was a great delivery. I think it can get any batsman out because it swung out from the middle stump. And what do you think basically of that dismissal? I think it was a great delivery. It can get any batsman out in the world.
I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat the question?
I just want to know your views about the dismissal of Cheteshwar Pujara yesterday. Can you hear me?
Honestly, I feel that was just a good delivery. He was playing well. Yeah, I can hear you now. I think it was just a good delivery that got him out. You can't really blame him for, playing at that. It was a good delivery. You can't do anything about it. And sometimes it happens. He was playing well until that ball. So I mean, it happens in Test cricket. You can't do anything about it. And honestly, I hope he bounces back in the second innings. That's all I can say. Right now.
Yes, yes, we all hope the same. And Kaustubh, coming to you, I think Virat Kohli getting out on the first ball, not a good sight for any Indian to watch. So your views on that dismissal because he has been having a lean patch since a long time now. So what do you think he needs to do to bounce back?
I think I need to agree with Virat Kohli completely, as he previously said that we need to revamp the test team, and we need the right people with the right mindset. And it seems like the lovely university has a great openings there, and I think we should be agreeing with Virat Kohli.
Yes, yes. But coming to the technical aspect of it, Kaustubh, what does he need to do to come back? I mean, I think once he starts playing and once he sets himself up, then he can be a kind of batsman who's unstoppable. So it's really heartening to see him score those centuries. But right now, he's not finding his form.
Yes, exactly. He is a phenomenal batsman. That's why he has 70 centuries. But what separates the great or what we say the god level from the great players is that the mindset that they do. And when once you are rich, once you're comfortable, it's hard to get out of your bed sheets and train for that much hours. Or rather,
Right.
what can we say? The mindset is not there, I suppose. In my personal opinion, I think he is differentiating himself from the other players, and maybe he's putting himself a level above everyone else. That is why I think he is under pressure also. That the expectations is there that he has to perform, and also sometimes when there is so much noise around, you tend to listen to it somewhat, and rather than accepting what is right, we tend to find fault in others. And I think some of it is definitely due to the negativity that he is receiving, and some of it is definitely because of him.
Yes, yes. And Nikhil, you're rightly mentioning that we have to give credit to Anderson. It was a good ball. Yes, indeed. He forced Virat Kohli to play at it, and that's why he got the edge. But that's all about day two, guys. India at the start of day three stand at 125 for 4 with KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant on the crease. So going ahead, Sachit, you first and then Kaustubh, what do you think should be the approach of the Indian batting lineup? I think KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant and Jaddu and then Shardul Thakur to follow. So what do you think should be the approach in the first session or the first hour of play?
I think for the first hour of play, the best thing they can do is try not to lose wickets, play as safely as possible. Of course, with Rishabh Pant in the crease, we might not see that much, but hopefully he does play a little, carefully and survive the first hour of play. Because again, I think everybody knows that England, the first hour in England is always the toughest one, and after that, it just gets easier for the batsmen once they settle down. So I feel that the first hour they should just try to survive and try to get. I mean, even if they get about 15 to 20 runs, that would be amazing for India without losing a wicket, and then maybe go on to get more runs from there on. But I feel that the first hour of play just survive as much as possible, and KL Rahul needs to take strike as much as possible because he can't leave the batsman who's just coming to bat to take strike and play longer than him. I feel like KL Rahul should take strike and survive and take as long as possible. That will lay the basis for the rest of the innings. I feel that if KL Rahul takes responsibility and plays well, then the other batsmen following him will come in with much more confidence and get more runs for India.
Correct, correct. Kaustu, coming to you, if I may twist the question a little bit, do you think that India will be having a slight advantage in the first session today because KL Rahul is still there out in the middle? He has done it yesterday with Rohit Sharma. He saw through the first session, so he's still there. He's used to the conditions, so he maybe knows how it's done. So do you think it's a slight advantage for India, or is it evenly poised still?
Looking at the track record of our batsmen, I don't think India will ever be at an advantage in England. Because even if we are set, even if a batsman has scored a century, I don't think he is certainly familiar with the conditions. One great ball and you are out. And I think the England bowlers specifically, they are very well trained to utilize their conditions, just like our spinners at our home. Their fast bowlers are very particular about the game plan, and they keep bowling that same length, same swing, and eventually they will get you out. So I don't think we are really at advantage, but what we can do is we can play the first hour safe. As I think one of the comments mentioned by Ankit Sadunke, he said even the 50 or 60 runs lead would be handy. So we should try to crawl towards the target at least 188, and then we should try to experiment. Until then, I think we should take it very slowly.
Right, very balanced opinion by Kaustubh. You just mentioned Kaustubh about the English bowlers, Anderson and Broad being the spearheads of their attack. So, Sachit, I would really like to ask you that how important is it to tackle Anderson and Broad, or even Ollie Robinson in the first hour of play in the first session? Because Anderson, especially, I will come to that later. But Anderson, just to mention, has got an economy of even less than 2. It's just 1.09. So, do we just be wary of him, or do you think it is still important to attack balls that need to be attacked?
I feel that honestly, it's better to be safe at the moment because James Anderson has again been phenomenal. But I think Broad has made it a tradition to fail in the first and come back stronger in the next few matches of the series because I feel he's going haywire with his line. He's bowling out. He's bowling way outside of. He's not attacking the stumps at all. And I feel like that is where India can capitalize on because Broad is not attacking the stumps. If KL Rahul or Rishabh Pant is confident enough that they'll hit the balls outside off, then maybe they can get some runs off Broad because he's not attacking the stumps at all. I mean, he's hitting a consistent pace of 140 plus, which is very good, but just not the right line. He's bowling way outside off the batsman. I've seen several overs where the batsman just kept every ball that Broad bowled. There wasn't one ball that the batsman had to even play at. So obviously, I think that is a horrible line from Broad, and I think it's just made it a tradition. But that is something that India should capitalize on and get some runs there. If they do, then that will ease the pressure off them. And then when James Anderson comes in, they can just peacefully and just get done with his overs. So I feel that that is something that India should capitalize on.
Correct. Coming to you, Kaustubh, Nikhil has just asked a question here. Will a Rishabh Pant counter attack work? Can it give India the edge? I was just about to come to you for the same question. Nikhil just helped me out there. So, do you think that if Rishabh Pant plays his natural game, then he's obviously going to counter attack because he's not someone who will defend and defend. He always wants to attack. So, do you think that is needed at the moment, or should he just go in his shell and see the first session through?
No, I would definitely like him to crawl towards 180 and then does what he does best. Because counter attack is something like double-edged sword. If it falls your way, everyone will applaud you. But if it doesn't, and it would be disastrous for team, not only for Rishabh Pant personally, but it would be a disastrous for team because when wickets fall in Test cricket, they fall in bunch. So if he goes, we can see another fall of wicket. I mean, and even in yesterday, we got a opening stand of 90 plus, and we are struggling at 125 for 4 now.
Correct, correct. And with just four batsmen to go, one among them being, Shardul Thakur, can we say that we are going to miss Ravichandran Ashwin in the for his batting, Sachit?
Absolutely. I mean, he was one of the most consistent players in the middle order. He was somebody whom we could depend on, even if we wanted him to, survive an entire session or score runs. He could do both, and obviously we're missing him right now. But I mean, I think I'm just hopeful that Jadeja gets a few more runs because now the pressure, the entire responsibility that Ashwin used to carry is now on Jadeja. So if he plays that way, then I think that eases the pressure of Shardul Thakur as well. And we've seen Shardul Thakur play in Australia. We've seen that 50 of his. He's pretty good with the bat. So hoping that he does play a similar knock here as well because we definitely are in need.
Right.
Yeah, and
Kaustubh,
if
your
it was
opinion?
World Test Championship final, yeah, if it was World Test Championship final, we could have played Ashwin on a green top because then certainly the conditions would have favored him on a green top as well. But since it is not the World Test Championship final, we can't take that risk. It is just another series of the 6-0 Test series. So I think the Ashwin has been dropped, and I don't think we will miss him because we have seen what happens on green top. Ball does not spin, and we should not wait for the conditions to change because green top certainly won't just fly away the grass, and even if it rains, it definitely helps the seamers only. And when the New Zealand team picked the five pace bowlers, I think it was an indication. So we all know what happens on green top, and we should. I mean, yeah, maybe we'll miss Ashwin, but if it was on very dry surface, not on green top. And for batting, I think Jadeja is a superior batsman.
Yes, all hopes
Are
are,
you sure in tests?
on.
In Ashwin, yeah, I definitely feel Jadeja is a superior batsman to Ashwin.
Yes, that's a
I'll leave it there.
debatable point, I would say, because we all saw what Ashwin did combined with Hanuma Viharia in the Sydney Test. Didn't score a lot of runs, but even though he was struggling with injuries, and even Hanuma Vihari, they were struggling with injuries, but they still took the team through to a draw. So Sanchit here is mentioning Pant shouldn't change his approach just because others around him cannot stick around for long. We never asked Sehwag to do the same because he used to come out with the same approach. So going forward, what should be the short-term goals for India, Sachit? Do you think that we should directly look at 183 right now because we are just 58 runs behind, or do we say that let's just take 10 runs at a time and still build those five sets of 10 runs to get to 183?
I think, look, first of all, this is a test match, not an ODI. So if we need 58 runs, that doesn't mean you just go ahead and hit it. It's a test match. You need to look at the long term aspect of it and think about how much you need to score after you get to 180. So the only way you can get there is by taking your time. So I feel that India should just take their time and be careful at the moment because if they try to rush in and get those 58 runs, they might get it, but they might not get enough, good enough lead. And England will have a fresh start, completely fresh start. They won't have anything to look ahead. So they will obviously just play, in a much more carefree way. So if you want to put pressure on England, the only way to do that is by getting more runs than 180, giving them a massive lead, and asking them to tail a good total for them to be under pressure. If not, then I feel that they'll be very carefree. So I think it's very important right now that they look at a long-term aspect of this and try to get at least 250 to 300 runs. Although it might be very difficult with 4 wickets down, I feel that these two batsmen have done it earlier in England itself, and these people can get more runs if they do play carefully, and that's what they need to look at right now. Also, Pant, we've seen him. He doesn't change his approach no matter what the situation is. I think several people have been telling him to change it, and he never has. He doesn't listen. So I feel that that's what he's gonna do anyway, and hopefully that works out. Because if he's gone, even if he got Jadeja and Shardul Thakur as backup, so I feel that Pant can play a little more carefully, just play the way he does, express himself freely, and get the runs that India require.
Yes, he is never going to listen because a batsman who just reverse scoops James Anderson for a boundary can do anything in the world. So we just know what he does. And Kaustup, coming to you, your opinions on the same. Should we take one step at a time, or should we be happy looking at it's just 183 and we are just 58 runs behind?
Yeah, I think someone in the comments or you mentioned, I think the 10 runs at a time is a good strategy because that gives us the short term goals, and after achieving it, we will, as we keep achieving it, we will feel safer and safer, and eventually, before we know, we are there. And then we can, sort of go with the natural flow. Even KL Rahul is naturally an attacking batsman. Let's not forget what he has done in T20 cricket. So
Yes.
I understand what Pant has a natural game to him, and he is applauded for his game. But there are certain situations where you have to just compromise, and it's not a big compromise. Just 58 runs, and if you keep taking the ball, just keep taking ones and twos or odd boundary, the loose balls will come. You can capitalize on them, but we should respect the time. We should respect the game. It is not Australia or it is not India or subcontinent where the ball won't swing. So we have to give the certain respect to the fast bowlers. It's their condition, it's their home conditions, and they're very familiar to it. So we should, take a step back, give them the deserved respect, and do our job. Because nothing is better than doing our job.
Correct, correct. And if we observe that the first wicket for India fell at the stroke of lunch when Rohit Sharma hooked that shot straight into the hands of Sam Curran at fine leg. And then after lunch, there was not much of a game that was played. It was just some overs. But the session completely belonged to England. I mean, they got those three wickets and in very quick succession. So, do you guys think that when the game resumes today, the English players are going to be at the top of their game and we have to go into our shell for some period of time? Because uh, I mean, we know that when it's all about motivation and the game of cricket is all about the flow. I mean, if they are getting wickets, वो लोग obviously थोड़ा चढ़ के खेलेंगे. So, do you think that it's going to be the case today?
Honestly, it depends on the condition. I think England is going to be on the top of their confidence, but not on top of their game, because it all depends on the conditions. If it's raining or if it's just easy, then that obviously England are going to take advantage of that. Especially the way James Anderson is bowling, he could probably be like extremely excited for that. But if not, if it's a sunny day, then it's going to be evenly poised, because it's not going to help the pacers, it's not going to help the batsmen. It's just going to help the game. The game is going to resume. The game is going to continue. So I feel that it all depends on the conditions. So England will be very confident coming into this, but not their game. The game won't change. I think they would just bowl similar to the way they have before lunch on the second day. And it's all about India, how they choose to deal with the English pacers.
Correct, correct. Because before Rohit Sharma's wicket fell, there was just two slips and one gully, if I remember correctly. But once two or three wickets fell, there were like four slips and a gully. So पांच fielder wicket के पीछे ही थे. So that shows that how much their confidence increased. But Kaustup, coming to you, your views on the same.
I think they will definitely be on top of their game. Just reverse the position. If it was India, if it was a turning wicket, you would definitely see like it is our game now. 124 for 125 for four, and we have just it is just one wicket away from the downfall. So I think they will be definitely on top of game. Only KL Rahul is set. Rishabh Pant is there, but he has been flopping his bat around. He's not completely set, but once he's set, he'll be a destroyer. But right now he's not really set. It is a new day, and it will take some time to get used to the ball, to get the get in the right mindset, or rather say that focus when you see the ball as big as football, as Gavaskar once mentioned. So till that time, it will be definitely a risky period, and we should try to see that off. And once we do that, we will be good enough.
Right, guys. Coming to the next point, it is about Rishabh Pant's wicket keeping. Do you think that he has improved a lot in his wicket keeping? Because yesterday we even saw Josh Butler fumbling a couple of balls of Stuart Broad and James Anderson as well. But I don't remember Rishabh Pant fumbling a ball. He was very good when he was wicket keeping. So do you think that is another aspect of Rishabh Pant that is improving, because if he can be at the top of his game in wicket keeping, then I don't need to tell you what kind of a batsman he is. So he's always going to be in the team. So do you think his wicket keeping is improving?
Honestly, it's too early to say at the moment. He hasn't played enough, and we haven't seen much of him wicket keeping to say that he's improved a lot. We can, of course, he has improved. In his earlier stages, he used to drop a lot of catches, but now he's much effective there. And Josh Butler, he fumbled. I mean, everybody has a bad day. You know, you can't just say that Josh Butler
Yes.
is bad, or you can't say that Rishabh Pant is better than Josh Butler right now. Everybody has a bad day. It happens, but I just think that it's a little too early to say that Rishabh Pant has improved a lot. We can say that Rishabh Pant has improved compared to his previous outings, and hopefully he continues to do that, because obviously that would be a massive advantage for India, because we were at a stage where India would take any wicket keeper that was available in the Ranjis after Dhoni retired. So to have somebody who can be depended upon with the bat as well as with the gloves is a massive advantage for India. Obviously, this is a good position for India to be in. But yeah, I really hope that Rishabh Pant continues to do that, and we get somebody, a batsman whom we can rely on, as well as a wicket keeper who can be trusted as well.
Exactly. Kaustubh, coming to you, the same question, but in a different way. That there was Riddhiman Saha before Rishabh Pant made his debut, and Riddhiman Saha used to bat at the same position, approximately at 6 or 7, but he was never, reliable with the bat. He got some very good innings. He got centuries as well against the West Indies at home, but he was not very reliable when it comes to batting. So, but he was at the top of his game in wicket keeping. Many experts have said that he was the best wicket keeper India had. So, do you think Rishabh Pant is someone that we can rely on both in terms of batting as well as wicket keeping? Is he getting there at that level?
Yes, definitely. I think even Vriddhiman Saha stated that Rishabh Pant is gradually increasing or improving as wicketkeeper. So, yeah, Rishabh Pant is slowly getting there. We can't suddenly expect him to be a phenomenal wicketkeeper, but at one point he will get there. It's not like he is never going to be a great wicketkeeper. He definitely has the potential, and right now he's justifying his place as a wicketkeeper in the test team.
Right. Guys, coming to Joe Root, I mean, he played that wonderful inning of 64. But coming to his captaincy as well, I think it is really brave of him to go ahead with, five fast bowlers and not a single spinner, provided that he doesn't consider himself as a spinner. But I know it's a green wicket, and, there are factors that favor the decision, but it's really brave of a captain to go ahead with only pace bowlers, even considering the over rate. So England have been on the slow side of the over rate many times. But do you think it's really brave of him to go ahead with four or five just pacers in the bowling attack and not even a single spinner?
I mean, honestly, he's been doing that since the New Zealand series, so it's nothing surprising at the moment. You can't. I mean, in the New Zealand series, several people called it stupid because there was no spinner, and New Zealand took advantage of that and got wickets with the spinner. So people considered that stupid back then, but now that it's working, they're saying it's gold. So the statement changes, but what he's done is the same. So it's nothing new. It's nothing surprising. We have to see the result of this game to conclude what this decision actually is. But honestly, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a bold decision. You can't take that away. It was a bold decision, and it's working in their favor right now. So, I mean, of course, they will hope that it continues to do so. But again, the batsman. It's sad to see that England don't have a good batsman to rely on apart from Joe Root. They have to go with five pacers, but if they had a good batsman, maybe they'd make a proper unit. Now they have Zach Crawley, Dom Sibley. You just can't rely on them. Maybe Dom Sibley, but Zach Crawley, I mean, come on. So I feel that,
Right.
and Dan Lawrence, 9 innings, 4 ducks. They just don't know whom to rely on. And losing Ben Stokes again is a massive loss for them. So it's not a complete unit right now. Even though the bowling is pretty strong, I just feel that England is not a complete unit who can actually go on to win several games from here on. I feel that somewhere or the other they will falter, and that's where India will capitalize on and get a couple of wins in the series.
Even Jofra Archer is missing in the bowling attack. I mean, if he comes in, Ben Stokes comes in. There's no Bairstow
Hmm?
in this lineup.
I think
Yeah,
Jofra Archer is ruled out for a year.
Yes,
He,
yes, yes.
I think the news came in yesterday. He has been
Jofra
ruled
Archer
out for a
has
year.
been ruled out, but I think it's a blessing for India that he's not going to play in this year, because Anderson Broad and then Jofra Archer with his pace and bounce must have been really difficult. But Kaustu, coming to you, I think just take us through the mindset of what must be going through Jack Leach and someone like Dom Bess's mind, because every time a game is scheduled in England, I think 8 out of 10 times they are made to sit outside. But do you think that those spinners are really of use when England play in the subcontinent, or do you think that they'll still be in a very neutral mindset?
No, in England conditions, when the pitch is green and so much green, so much that even Michael Vaughan, the former Test captain of England, he posted a tweet, photoshopped image of plants on the pitch and saying that I can't distinguish between the grass and the pitch. So it is very simple, it is very normal, and it is like maths. 1 plus 1 has to be equal to 2. It is not 3. It is not 4. It even the conditions won't change that. So when in England you play 5 fast bowlers if the conditions are in support. The over rate we can manage 1 or 2 part timers. But if when you are in England, the pitch is so much green that you can't distinguish. You play 5 pacers. You don't play 2 spinners because the condition will change. The grass is not hair of a bald man. They won't fall out. You don't play 2 spinners on a green pitch and then revamp the team. You play 5 pacers and then we see what the result is. And definitely England is getting result.
Correct, correct. Right now, we can say that they are getting results, but guys, talking about the Duke's ball that is only used in England, if we see the SG Test ball that is used in India, the ball stops swinging after 15 or 18 overs. Even the Kokabura ball that is used in countries like Australia, even that does not swing this much. But it's the 46th, 47th over in the game right now, but the ball is still swinging like it is new. So, do you think that it's correct for teams to use such a ball in countries like England where the ball just keeps on swinging, or do you think that it's just the nature and it should be carried through?
I think certain things don't change in Test cricket. You can't just say that we need to bring in a new ball. We need to bring in another ball because Duke's ball is swinging in the 46th over. It's unfair for the other teams. There are certain things that shouldn't change in cricket. Like you can't just bring in a Duke's ball in Australia. It's not going to make sense. Kookaburra ball is the one that bounces, and that's what you need in Australia as well. And India makes use of the SG ball as well because it spins, and you can't take that away from India. I think everybody in India would be pretty pissed off if you take away the SG ball from them and give them a Duke ball and say, here, it's team of India. The conditions need to favor the home team as well. Sometimes you can't just. Sometimes it doesn't have to be neutral. Sometimes it does favor the home team, and India has made advantage of that. I think every country has taken advantage of that, and you should just leave it the way it is. So England, yes, if the
Correct.
ball swings, that's the whole point of playing in England. That the ball will swing. So taking that away would just mean that you're reducing the standard of Test cricket.
Correct, correct. Kaustup, yeah, coming to your view.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Sachit. Like, what's the fun in then playing? The conditions won't matter.
Right.
If you keep the ball constant, if you keep the pitch constant, then what is the point? You play in England, you play in India, it will be constant. It will be just about the revenue generation. So I definitely agree with Sachit. The certain condition has to present certain challenge, and everyone should make use of that, so that the conditions are different. We get different playing conditions, and variety is kept. And the Test cricket, what we actually feel the heart of Test cricket is you never give up and you always play till the end. So that is what we should keep alive.
There's a reason why it's called test cricket, because it really
Yes.
tests your temperament and patience. There was a very interesting question by Ronak here, that did we miss a trick by sending Pant ahead of Jadeja? So do you guys think that it was possible that Jadeja would have come in first and just made the ball a bit more old, and then when we are just 20, 30 runs short of the target, then Pant would have come in and just do what he does? So can that work in a better way, or do you think that sticking to the batting order is better in these conditions?
I think it's better to stick to the conditions because if you send Jadeja ahead of Pant and Jadeja throws away his wicket and let's say Pant comes in and throws away his wicket too, then it would be very difficult for India to rely on the tail enders. So obviously, I think this is a much better decision to send a batsman ahead, to send a batsman where he's supposed to be sent, and if he gets out, you got Jadeja who can survive for a while. The press. Jadeja can take the responsibility. You can't give the responsibility to somebody like Pant, who is who's just a flamboyant player who will just go out there and express himself no matter what the situation is. So I think the responsibility should be. I think the responsibility should be given to somebody like Jadeja who can survive and not Pant, because if you send Jadeja ahead, he might get out and then the entire batting order may collapse. So this is how it should be. I mean, this is how it's supposed to be, and that's what India have done. So I feel that there's nothing wrong in what India have done, and this is what is going to work for them.
Right. KB, your views on the same? Do you think it would have been a good trick to send Jadeja ahead of Pant, or do you agree with Sachit completely?
Uh, I agree with Sachit completely, but I would say it might have made sense because if we send Jadeja with a definite task that you have to crawl towards the target of 180, and that you should be doing just that, and then we use Pant to go along with his natural game. If it worked, it would have made sense. But right now, as Sachit said, that it would not have been fair on Pant to just play one certain role and not play as a player. And it also gives Pant to show a chance that he has matured as a player, and he has not just one mode. He can play with the conditions as well. So it would be really unfair on Pant also if we send someone like Jadeja, who we drop at the first instance when the only one spinner is needed. He's sent ahead of Pant, so it also plays with his mind. It plays with his confidence. So I think I agree with Sachit completely. We must send Pant ahead of Jadeja, but that trick could have worked.
Correct. Guys, just a last question before we go towards the predictions for today. It's about the opening of the Indian batting lineup. Uh, Gill was in the squad. He went back. He came back, I would say, because of an injury. Mayank Agarwal got injured in the nets because of concussion. He's not there. How important is this innings for Rahul? And even if he goes forward to make a century or get a very good score, can we assure him a place for opening the innings for India in the subsequent test series when Gill and Mayank Agarwal come back? What do you think?
I think that's a very tough question, honestly, because you can never rely on Indian openers. I mean, Indian openers themselves can't be sure of what their position is. I feel that if Rohit Sharma doesn't get a 50 here, they might drop Rohit Sharma as well. So, Indian openers just can't rely on the board or their position at any point. There's so much competition in India, and there is so much talent in India that you just can't, make a decision. I think even the board is having a tough time deciding whom to place in the team, because there is so much talent. There are so many competitors. There's Mayank Agarwal, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw, KL Rahul. There are more people coming. There are so many people waiting in the Ranji Trophy to get into the Indian side that it's very difficult for India to decide who to send in that position. So every innings matters for India. For Indian openers, every innings matters. They need to be extremely consistent to make it make a lasting impact. Even if Rohit Sharma doesn't get a 50 in the next match, I'm pretty sure he'll be dropped once Mayank Agarwal comes back. And if and if KL Rahul gets out here, before he scores a century, then his position is immediately in danger. Although he was the one who scored most runs in the team, his position will still be in danger, because Indian openers, you can just never be sure.
Not just openers, even Indian players are not really sure about their place. I mean, we need right people with right mindset, right? I mean,
But
winning in
imagine
Australia whole series is not enough, I guess, in the absence
imagine
of the best
Pujara,
player in the
Rahane,
world.
and all these people. They haven't performed for ages now, and they're still in the team. Rahane, yes, of course, he was the highest run getter for India in the World Test Championship, but still, he hasn't
But
scored.
not, odd centuries or odd stands that matter really. When you go on a dry run of 621 days, I don't think you're really justified to call someone else, the wrong people with wrong mindset.
Right. Kaustub is just behind the mindset of one person today, and I don't need to take the name of who it is. But
No, it
yeah,
just
going.
I personally feel hurt when people say, Kohli made such statements that we need right people, right mindset. But it was obviously directed towards Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane, because we got new openers and we got stable openers, and then we got two spinners, and there is no other spinners to even really give them a competition, and then we have another stable of fast bowlers. So it was definitely directed at them. And come on, man, you were on a holiday with your wife, and these two players were taking balls on body line. They were suffering, and they did something that nobody ever done in since 1980s. They breached the Gaba. They stood there on I forgot the stadium's name, but they Hanuma Vihari and Ashwin did something phenomenal. They saved a test match,
Sydney,
and then
Sydney.
Sydney, and then you go on to say that we need right people with right mindset. Really, are you kidding me? That is just not fair. You're pissing all over what the hard work they have done. When you lose your best player in the world, when we are playing 20 players, you know, players are getting injured left and right. You are playing net ballers in your playing 11, and you are just one injury away when your coaches eventually take the jersey on and go onto the field. And when you come back, they get one failure, and you say they are not the right people with right mindset. That is just the epitome of insult you can give to certain player, and he is your vice captain as well.
Correct, correct. That is surely a point that needs to be considered. But going ahead, guys, I really need to know your predictions for the day. I mean, this is a very long-term and tough question to ask. But what do you think will the score be towards the end of day three? And with all the rain predictions and everything, I think it's okay to go session by session as well. But just a prediction. I mean, it obviously has to be approximate because no one can be definite in this question. But just a prediction, what will the score be towards the end of the day?
Honestly, I think that India won't survive the entire day for sure. So I feel that India would probably get up to about 260 to 250 runs before they get all out, and England will come into bat and maybe get about 50, 60 runs by the end of day three.
Okay, but it's important to take 3 to 4 wickets in those 50, 60 runs, is what I would feel, so that we are on top at the end of day three. Kaustu, coming to you, your predictions for the day.
Uh, as Sachin said, definitely India is not batting throughout the day. Even I don't see that. Uh, Not 250 to 60. I think India would just barely do more than 180, maybe 210, 220, because it's English conditions. Anderson's last series against India, maybe. So he'll definitely be hungry for the wickets, and he's I think just one wicket away from Anil Kumbre's test record. So he'll definitely be hungry. He'll be given chance. I think 230 to 240 for India, and when England comes to bat, maybe 2 or 3 wickets for 70 or 80.
Okay, so both our experts have made their predictions. India stand at 125 for 4. We are all hoping that KL Rahul goes ahead and makes a big century for India and for himself as well. It will be brilliant. So, yeah, that's all we have for the day 3 preview. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Thanks to all our viewers as well. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. We'll join again tomorrow at 12 p.m. for the preview of day 4. Let's hope that there are no rains and we get a full day's play. Thank you very much.